Welcome to Noir Alley. I'm Eddie Muller. Thanks for joining me once again at Bar 355. Well, several writers usually get the credit for laying the literary groundwork for film noir. Guys like Dashiell Hammett, James M. Cain, and W.R. Burnett. But if one writer was synonymous with noir, it'd have to be Cornell Woolrich. Under his own name or the pseudonym William Irish, his novels and short stories provided the grist for more films than any other writer in the genre. He's certainly the most represented writer in Noir Alley. Today, I'm bringing back one I last showed in 2017, Noir Alley's inaugural year, Deadline at Dawn, made at RKO in 1946. Woolrich had a gift, or maybe it was a curse, for conjuring wildly engrossing and unpredictable plots. Typically, they revolved around an innocent person caught in a dire predicament that spirals out of control. Their fate gets decided as casually as a coin flip. Nobody worked that bleak side of the street harder or more evocatively than Woolrich. The flip side of these capricious coin flips was that his stories didn't always make sense. Woolrich's plots had a tendency to start out compelling and end up confounding. But as I always say, do your nightmares make sense? The world Cornell Woolrich created was about dread and desperation, panic and paranoia, fear and fatalism. And just like real nightmares, the conclusions are often less than satisfying. The premise of Deadline at Dawn is prime Woolrich. A man believes he'll be accused of murder and has only 6 hours, in the dead of night, of course, to find the real killer. He enlists the aid of several lonely, embittered night owls, and together they careen through the somnolent city, seeking clues and encountering all sorts of nefarious characters. Does it make sense? Not really. Does that matter? I say no. This isn't reality. It's a nocturnal dream world, conjured by a frantic and frazzled imagination. Good enough for 83 spellbinding minutes, and that's good enough for me. Deadline at Dawn is notable for being the lone feature film on the resume of renowned stage director Harold Clurman, one of the founders of New York's Group Theater and the director of such Broadway classics as Awake and Sing, Paradise Lost, and Golden Boy. Clurman was a Manhattan native, so I'll assume he was drawn to Woolrich's after-hours vision of the sinister city. Clifford Odets, one of America's premier playwrights of the era, wrote the script as a favor to his colleague. You'll definitely hear Odets's mannered stage dialogue ringing through Woolrich's more hushed storytelling style. Now, Clurman rarely talked about this film, and when he did, it was with disdain, which is odd given the intensity with which the story is told and the obvious craftsmanship that is brought to bear. Now, I suspect Clurman was hiding the fact that much of Deadline at Dawn was actually directed by William Cameron Menzies, the genius production designer who had a side career bailing out troubled productions. According to his daughter, Menzies refused credit on the film because he hated Harold Clurman and didn't want their names connected in any way. Whoever is responsible for it, the film is a moody and at times slightly goofy concoction, a noir thriller full of existential oration, most of it courtesy of Paul Lukas as New York's most philosophical cab driver. Be prepared for lots of coincidence and confusion. But here are 2 rock-solid certainties. Nicholas Musaraka's camera work is as good as noir gets, and Susan Hayward never looked better than she does in front of his camera. She'd just given birth to twins, but watching her slink through the shadows of Cornell Woolrich's imagination, be still my heart. From 1946, here is Susan Hayward, Bill Williams, and Paul Lukas staring down a Deadline at Dawn.